Well, are you thinking about getting a divorce? You know, it can be costly, and we'll tell you why it may be even more difficult and more expensive in these tough economic times. Well, the bad American economy is leading some married couples to stick out what may be bad marriages. Joining us now from Milwaukee, Wisconsin, to discuss the relationship between divorce rates and the economy and why it may be even tougher now is divorce attorney and managing partner of Coons, Fuller, Vanden Eykel, and Robertson is one of the namesakes, Ike Vanden Eykel. Ike, welcome to Fox Business. Thanks for joining us.
Good morning.
Well, divorce already can be a very costly proposition for many. Has it gotten more expensive or more difficult with a tough American economy?
Expensive would not necessarily be applicable, but more difficult. It presents a whole new array of problems to people already going into a problem area.
I would imagine one of them has to do with housing. You know, mostly if you get a divorce, one person gets the home, somebody might make some money on it. But what if you're trying to get a divorce and you owe more than your house is worth? Then what?
Well, that's the dilemma many people are facing. The two major assets that many couples have are their house and their 401k. Now that we're down to the 101ks and houses that are underwater, people are being forced to stay in a marriage that they do not want to be in, much like putting two players from a hockey game who've been called for a penalty in the same penalty box. Not a very pretty picture.
Yeah, you know, is there a relationship as a whole, though, Ike, between divorce and the economy? I mean, do you see a divorce rate that swings up in good or bad economies, or does it stay the same?
Normally, there is an absolute cause and effect between a down economy and the rise in the divorce rate. Interestingly and tragically, with this particular economic downturn, the worst that we have seen since the Great Depression, there has been, yes, a good thing in that the divorce rate is down overall. And again, it depends on the socioeconomic group you're looking at, but overall, the rate is down. People want to look at that upon that as a good thing, but all it is like a pressure cooker just being asked to hold more pressure. It's just a matter of when the whole thing will blow up.
What about child support payments? I mean, you know, if you get a divorce and you're discussing alimony or child support, maybe the husband or wife says, listen, I'm simply not making as much money as I used to be, but yet the cost to raise a child is probably about the same as it was, if not more expensive. How do you solve those kinds of disputes?
Yeah. Huge dilemma everywhere in the country. It's one thing to set child support when you have these kinds of problems. The bigger problem arises when the divorce has already been granted and now the person who is obligated to pay child support has either had a severe reduction in income or in many instances a total wipeout of that income. Now you've got to go back to court if you can't reach an agreement. Of course, going back to court is a catch-22 because that requires money and you're already in the problem because you don't have the money. The expenses for the children go on, the expenses for the parent who has the primary custody go on, but the obligor, the person who owes the support, has a dwindling resource with which to pay. So these are huge problems. They're being experienced all over the country, and there's really no end in sight.
Best quick advice to couples right now maybe watching that are thinking about getting a divorce. What should they do financially?
Financially, and quite frankly, this is across-the-board advice. Keep talking, keep communicating, because when you're talking, there's always a potential result you can come up with. There's a compromise. When you stop talking, there are no compromises possible, and all you're doing is going into the abyss of a legal proceeding that's going to cost everybody way too much money and way too much heartache, and at the end of the day, the same problems are still going to exist. Keep talking.
All right, good advice. Ike Vanden Eykel out of Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.